You are now listening to the Dad Rules Podcast with your hosts, Mario E. and Kid.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Dad Rules Podcast, where we help you dad better. I'm one of your hosts, Mario E. Kid, what's going on?
Not much, man. Good. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Great. So let's get to the episode topic. Today we got better to be alone than in bad company. Better to be alone than in bad company. You want to start us off?
Man, I would much rather be by myself than to be with people that are negative or not for me. You know, not a friend, not being supportive. You know, I'd rather just take those people out of my life instead of having to deal with them. But it's a process, man. It takes a while to really be okay with being by yourself. I know it took me a while to be okay with being by myself. But once you get to a point where you just like, man, why are you doing this? Like, why are you hanging out with this person that I don't bang with or I don't hang with, or why are you around people that, you know, disrespect me or whatever? It's like, I figured that out years ago. And it's almost like a non-negotiable. If you're not bringing anything positive to my life, you don't have to bring money. You don't have to bring anything into my life, but just don't be negative. You know, I'm not looking to get something out of you, but if you can make me a better person or help me become a better person or help inspire me, I think that's something good. But like, we have to be careful about the company that we keep, not only for ourselves, but when we're a father and the head of the household, man, your kids looking at the type of people that you bring in your house. They're looking at the type of people that you bring around them. And I wouldn't be too sure that the type of people that you bring around, that's going to be the type of people that they relate to. So You got crazy, wild, mean, disrespectful, discouraging friends. Don't be surprised when your kids start hanging around people like that. So
True.
I think a lot of times we overlook that we are the first examples for our kids, and our kids look at everything that we do. They don't know how to live life. They don't know how to navigate through life. So their first instinct is going to do what you do. Now, there are cases where parents do the right thing and their kids don't necessarily follow. But just for me, I'd rather be the best example that I can be and hope and pray that they follow that example. But, man, leave me alone, man. I'm okay. I'm okay by myself, and I don't know what age it is or whatever, but when you get to that point where you are just comfortable in your own skin and you don't have to try and impress people, when you can go to the movie by yourself, it's a beautiful thing. Some people may think it's weird, but it's a beautiful thing when you can go to the restaurant and sit down by yourself and you just in peace. I know a young guy, he was telling me that he needed to get away. He went on vacation by himself for like 3 days. Just went to the beach. Just hung out.
Oh, man.
By himself. And I'm like, that takes courage, man, because society make you feel like you got to go with somebody or you got to be going and do something. But to go, you know, by yourself, you either got a mental thing going on where it might not be safe for you to be by yourself, or you really just comfortable with yourself and you just appreciate having some me time. I need to go and just clear my head, you know?
Yeah.
Man, it's a beautiful thing to not have to be validated by people. And that's why I think a social media cleanse is a good thing too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, what you think?
Yeah, so I was listening to you talk, man, and one of the things I always talk about is I like my peace. And if you got bad company around you and they're keeping up a whole bunch of drama and a whole
Mess.
bunch of stuff going on, yeah, a whole bunch of mess, man, you can't let people disturb your peace. And if that means you got to go alone, sometimes you might got to be a lone wolf. I heard this thing one time, man. Is the other day, man, and Mike Tyson was talking about something, like the difference between, lions and tigers. And I don't have it exactly how he said it, but he was talking about how tigers kind of go at it alone, whereas lions, they're always in groups. They got the pride of lions, with them at all times. And ain't nothing wrong with, man, being a tiger sometimes, just being by yourself and doing your own thing, and and that's it, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, because if you around a bunch of people that are disturbing your peace, or a bunch of drama, or they up to no good, man, it's best to just cut those people off and be
Live
by
your
yourself,
life,
man, because you will
man.
be
Live
a
your
lot,
life.
yeah, you will have a lot more joy and happiness than being around some people that's miserable and bringing you down with them,
Right. Right.
so yeah, man.
And I feel like too, you brought up that saying, made me think of another one. Eagles fly alone, but buzzards don't.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
mean, define yourself, man. Like for real, a lot of times, man, you gotta stand alone. And a lot of times when you're in position of leadership, you gotta be by yourself. You gotta stand by
ooh,
yourself. And
yes,
you know,
yes,
even even on your jobs and stuff like that, a lot of times in training, they'll tell you like if you're in a leadership role, you're not supposed. I don't know if you heard this before, but I've heard it where you don't eat with the people that are working for you or whatever. I've heard that. Um,
hmm
you just kind of go to yourself, maybe go back to your office and eat and stuff like that. Um, because of respect, people get familiar, man. You know,
I was getting
people
ready to
get,
say the same thing,
people get
because you
familiar,
you
man. They start
know
getting disrespectful. Yo.
Yeah, yeah, we know the situation. I know you know who I'm talking about, but it was a situation where, as like we were kind of growing up or whatever, this one particular person, they were younger, and you know, they got to a certain age, and because they thought they were as old as we were, which even
Yeah.
I'm still, some years older than you, but like this person
And put
started to get
that
familiar.
you're years older than me, but I always had that respect. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
yeah,
walk up to Mario and slap him on the back of his head and start laughing. Like you don't do that to older guys.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
disrespectful. But go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
yeah. But this one particular guy, he got out of pocket one time saying some stuff, and
Consequences come with that.
yeah, and so that's just how things go sometimes, But yeah, you gotta put people back in their place if they wilding out, and sometimes if you too familiar with people, you know, um, it can be awkward, or it may be to the point where you don't want to say anything now because you don't want to hurt their feelings. But if you're truly being a leader, you have to do those things, you know. Um, so it's definitely a balancing act when you're in leadership, with not, where you got to spend time with your team. But if you spend if it's for some people, if you spend too much time, then they can be familiar, and then that's when they can get to talking slick, or oh,
I
you the
listen, man.
friend,
What you telling
being that
dude?
friend now, and not the leader. And so when you tell them to do something, then it's like, oh, that's just my friend talking. That's not the leader talking.
Yeah.
You know, and then it can make it awkward when it's time to hold somebody accountable.
Right.
So you just got to have that fine line when you're in leadership. I'm not saying no. I mean, of course, every leader has at some point, broken bread with that team, and stuff. But
and
I know what you're saying.
I wanted to make that clear too. Like, that's not what I mean. Like, where you can't eat, because I feel like you need to eat. And I mean, you're a human being just like they are. You just because you have a higher position than a person, that don't mean that you better than them. And I think you have to let people know that. Like, I'm not caught up into titles and all this stuff, but I just know that was something that I've heard professionals talk about and speak on.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experiences, it's been true. And there are benefits to being alone, because you don't necessarily have to cut friends off all the time. But if you just don't come around like you used to, when you do come around, they're happy to be graced with your presence.
Yeah.
People act differently. They treat you differently. Like, oh man, he don't never come around. Then he came, that's what's up, man. Let's just focus on having a good time.
Right.
Let's try and pull somebody's card, because we all grown men, right? And I don't like being in situations where somebody's going to possibly pull me out of character. That's one of the most important things for me right now in my life, is like, I want to be around people that's going to respect me as a human.
Right.
Being.
Absolutely.
And, not cross certain lines and certain boundaries. And, sometimes jokes go too far and all that stuff. Like, I'm a grown man, got a wife, kids. I ain't got time for this. We're going to go have fun with each other, have some laughs, try and build each other up. If we can't do that, then I'm good on that.
Yep.
I'd rather be alone. And that's why I promote family so much. And that's why I promote marriage, because there's an added confidence to your life when you have a good wife and you have a family at home. You don't need everything. I don't need the streets. I don't have to go out and hang. When I go hang with you, it's because I really miss you and I really want to be around you. But I don't have to be here, because I can go home and spend time with my family and I'm good. Because as long as they good, I'm good. I think that's
keeps you grounded.
Yeah. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it, is because when you are alone, you're never really alone. Because I know she got my back regardless. It's me and her to the end, That's the bond of marriage. And I feel like so many people don't realize the purpose for marriage, man. A lot of people really looking to go through life by themselves, and I'm like, wow. Wow. Because marriage is beautiful, man. It really is. When you married to that right person, it's nothing like you got their back, they got your back. At the end of the day, it's me and you. We going down together, or we rising up together. Nobody jumping off.
Right.
But that's good, man. That's something that I definitely want to teach my son. I don't know if I can really teach it right now, because he's just such at a young age. I can just teach him with my behaviors. It's interesting, man. It's like you get certain points where you can
teach you with your action.
Yeah. But it's certain times, man, where you can put in certain nuggets of wisdom in your kids. Like today, I picked him up from school, and I was like, "You want to pick up something to eat?" And he was so excited because I always take him straight home, and he was like, "Yeah, let's go get something to eat." So I want some ice cream and all that. So we got in the line, and you know how sometimes when you get in the line, they make you lap around because they got the cones up. I know Chick-fil-A does this, and I think some McDonald's do this, where they have the cones up where you have to go around the building to get into the line properly. So I went all the way around the building so I could get in line like I was supposed to. When we get to the other side, somebody trying to break the rules, they go get in front of the cones and back up to where you order at. So Joe's like, what's taking them so long? And I said, man, we just gotta be patient. And he said, what's that? You know, and I was like, basically just wait and don't get mad. And he said, okay, we're gonna wait and don't get mad. Like that. And so like the person that was taking a long time, which this is kind of irritating to me. And I know I have an issue with patience. And I know my son naturally has an issue with patience via his father.
Yeah.
So we're waiting, and I'm kind of irritated because I'm like, you pretty much just jumped this line. And it's connections that my son can make to this because he is in pre-K and the line is the world to them. Like when you're a line leader, that is the job to have. I mean, you just landed a job with Apple when you are the line leader in pre-K. So he's able to make that connection that somebody jumped him in line. So I'm like, I'm a little irritated. We go up there, they pay for their food. And then this thing happens. I just had this whole feeling the whole time. I was like, that wasn't right what they did. But it'd be nice if Jonah can see a natural consequence right now because he's understanding this concept of being patient, and it happens. Mm-hmm. They pay for their food, and then they have to go park in a parking spot and wait for their food to be given to them. So then we pull up, pay for our food, they give us our food, and then we're able to pull out. We're able to pull out of the parking lot, go down the street, and they're still sitting there waiting. And that's why I said, son, patience. You know, do things the right way, wait your turn, don't be upset, and things are going to work out for you. And he was able to see somebody being impatient, and then they still had to wait. You're going to wait, man. Right. So, you know, that was something good that really happened today. Really a proud dad moment. And God kind of put his hand on it a little bit because stuff just don't happen like that. But yeah. But you got anything else?
No, I don't.
All right, man. Well, we thank you guys for listening to the Dad Roots podcast with Mario E and Kid. And we want you guys to like, share, subscribe. Let's get this word out there. Good conversation today. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Rules podcast with your hosts, Mario E and Kid. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Breaker, and Player FM. Till next time.